In this video, we are focusing on Town Hall 11 and showing you 5 different attack strategies that you can use to help get the 3 stars. We will break down each of these attacks, give you tips and tricks, as well as a bonus attack at the end of the video, so let's dive into it. Alrighty guys, let's dive straight into this video, starting off with the very powerful LavaLoon. Now the LavaLoon is something which is incredibly difficult to master, but when you do, it is one of the best strategies in the game. If you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Now guys, every single one of these strategies are different, but they all have one thing in common, or at least one thing from each variation of it which we're going to show. So let me know down in the comments if you figure out what it is, but let's get into it. You can see on this one we have the king at the top creating a funnel across this side so that our queen can come down over, and as you can see we have wall breakers already busted open that first layer in order to send her into the base. Now if you are using a queen charge technique, make sure you do cut off the funnel on the other side so that she doesn't continue to walk around the base. She does turn and be attracted inside itself. Now with the LavaLoon, you want to take out a couple of key objectives. She is charging on up towards the enemy queen up there. The enemy clan castle troops are already down and we are creating a path for the LavaLoon. We are cutting out this area of the base so the Lalo can come around, and that is behind the sweepers. The queen did just take out one of them in the center of the base there. Now all of these attacks are by crunch time in our CWL matchup, CWL invite against Kerala Royals. If you are interested in joining us or any of the UK War Alliance clans, my Discord is down in the description of this video. So you can see that the queen charge has came forward, not quite getting the queen, or not quite far enough. Would have got there eventually, but we have the skeleton spell in order to take that queen out. So look at her just shooting at the ground, not a care in the world that there's loons over the top, taking out all of them defenses, and the skeletons take her down. Do try and combine that if you're using that method with a rage spell, because it does get the queen down incredibly fast, guys. And again, we are just covering these strategies relatively quickly in this video, 5 different ones for you today. But if you do want to see any of these strategies in more depth, especially at Town Hall 11, if you check my YouTube channel homepage, I have playlists of different Town Hall levels, so be sure to watch the Town Hall 11 ones. But let's move on to the next strategy. On to the next one for this video, one of my personal favorite strategies in the game, the Hog Riders. Very similar to the LavaLoon in how you set up the attack. You've got to make sure you get that funnel, because the Hog Riders, being defense targeting troops, will target the defenses, so you've got to be able to control them through the base. Starting up at the top, we have a queen charge, setting up that funnel very nicely with a couple of goblins onto the town hall, loons over this area, and the queen is going to be able to come straight in towards the center. Beautifully done. We are going to be attracted up to this builder hut, but the rest of the funnel is done. Once she's taken that out, she will be redirected back into the base, cutting off the funnel for the Hog Riders at the north of the base. And what you will see is that we will basically take out this top area, take out the bottom with the stone slammer, so that the Hog Riders come straight through the base. Easy as that, guys. The ice golem goes down relatively early. A jump spell provides access into that eagle artillery. Obviously at Town Hall 11, that is the signature defense, and for a lot of these strategies you do want to try and get it down as quickly as possible. In fact, that goes without saying really, guys, but it is pivotal for a lot of these strategies if the troops can be a little bit squishy from the eagle artillery fire. The queen getting into that central compartment means that she's going to step up and take down the enemy queen, and again just create that funnel for the Hog Riders. So in they come from that northern area, going to basically swoop down towards the defenses here, and again look at, once they've taken out these defenses at the top, they're going to be forced down over to where the other Hog Riders are. There is nowhere else for them to go, so if you can control where they will go in that of the defenses, then it's a lot easier to build the success of the attack. Stone Slammer coming into this southern area, and it's timed perfectly. In fact, when it goes down, reinforces more Hog Riders into this massive pack, and it's all about using the heal spells where they are taking that major damage. That will tend to be any splash damage areas or highly concentrated areas of defenses. Grand Warden's ability is used on the end there when the Hog Riders were just about to get out of its range, and we also have them clean up wizards around the outside of the base. A fantastic one, that one by Will. Really did break down that base effectively in my opinion. They do get caught onto the tornado trap towards the end of the raid, but the queen, still with them healers on her charging forward, is going to be able to help clean up the rest of these buildings. And the Hogs, they are still fantastic, but we have many more strategies to show you. This attack strategy is the miners, and we have a very clutch moment towards the end of this attack. You don't want to miss it. Then we have two other strategies, and we're basically moving away. We've shown you the more traditional ones, the LavaLoon, the Hog Riders, moving to the more in the meta, if you will, and the Queen Charge Miners is one of them attacks that at Town Hall 11 and Town Hall 12, it is just an absolute beast, guys. So here we go. We're setting up that funnel again for the Queen Charge. I don't need to tell you guys about it and how important it is. You've just got to do it, guys. Get that funnel set for your queen to come into the base, walk around wherever she needs to, but then ultimately get into the base wherever you need her to. Again, the Eagle Artillery is a key defense for the miners. We're setting up a funnel for them with the king on one side, the queen walking down this other side, so that the miners can be pressed into the base itself here. The wall wrecker just adds that added bit in terms of taking some fire from the miners. It's not really going to help in busting the walls. We do get unfortunate with the queen here as well, going down, unfortunately losing the healers and then not able to protect the queen, so that's a little bit unfortunate. This raid could have been so much better if that queen had have stayed alive, but not to worry, we have a hound in the CC, not going to do anything to the miners as they power through here, and look at how many we have coming to the end of the raid. So unfortunately the queen hasn't been able to take out this area, so the miners, although they come up where we expect, some of them are drawn across to this left hand side as well, and from that point it's really trying to use the remaining heal spells as best as possible. We do have to split up with them and not heal all of the miners, but there are so many. This base was planned out so well that ultimately, even though they split into each and every direction, we get the job done. And ultimately that turns out to be quite clutch here, because miners can run out of time, and look at this, we've got miners at each and every part of the base, gonna be able to take it down, and so many of them left that it really isn't funny, guys. Once you can get the miners into the base itself, into them defenses that are tightly compact, and you can control them onto the defenses, you're in for a good time with the miners. But let's move on to the next strategy. Alright, we're moving on up to current meta, and this one uses the Witches and the Bat Slap attack strategy. So as we start off here, we're basically going to try and set up the funnel for the Queen walk into the Queen charge. Doesn't quite get it done here, sacrifices a few troops and we don't get that funnel. However, placement of the Queen works out relatively well here. Unfortunately, she does walk up to the 12 o'clock area, area exactly where we want her to. Now the whole thing about the witches is trying to use them in order to build up that momentum, get the skeletons going, and we're going to attack straight into the multi. If you can, get the multi infernos down as soon as possible. So the queen is walking around this side beautifully. Again, the good thing about a queen charge is she can take out these buildings on the inside as well to force your witches in. They're not going to be attracted to these buildings. King sets up a funnel on the other side with the wall wrecker. In comes all of them witches, and they are going to just come straight forward towards the multi-inferno at this point. Love the use of that single loon in the clan castle just in order to help tank the coconut loon, essentially tank for any black bombs, and it does work out. Now if you can, with the bat slap strategy, again that signature defense at Town Hall 11, the eagle artillery can do so much damage onto your witches and skeletons, so make sure you are using your Grand Warden's ability to get through that. Look at that beautiful entry, so much momentum, we're getting straight through, freezing that area with the ice golems, and in comes the bat wave. Now what we've essentially done is created this thin channel of defenses that the bats can now move through, and it's all about trying to tank the splash damage. So we freeze onto the multi, an ice golem on the outside of the base there managed to tank the wizard tower, so the rest of the witches can basically be held safe from the splash damage, continue to move forward, and look at the bats go, just moving from defense to defense, freeze the splash, tank it on the outside, help them bats through, and look at this base. It is history. So many bats left over, so many witches in the center of the base. Look at that amount of skeletons. This base is crushed, guys. If you can set up that funnel, you can get the queen charge in with the witches behind and create that tight area around the outside with defenses that you can swoop the bats through. You are on to a good time. Whether it's multi-infernos or not, as long as you can get access through them with the witches, you are good. You don't really need to commit a rage spell for them. You just need that jump spell to get them through into the center of the base. What a beautiful attack, but let's move to a different strategy. Alright, we move on to the fifth attack strategy of this video. It is the Falcon, the Valkyries, and the Bowlers. I love seeing this strategy in action. This one by Azuka, getting it done for crunch time. Such an amazing attack, this one. But like I said, we do have the bonus attack as well. And at the end of the video, I will link the best attack strategies for Town Hall 11. So if you're interested, you can stick around, move straight on to that video, and be sure to watch that one so you know which one of these strategies is the best. So we do have the queen charge again, setting up that funnel here so that she can be drawn into the base, and look at the king down at 6 o'clock, just cutting off the funnel at the other side. I've mentioned it in each and every attack. That'll be a clue for you for the things which I said are common across these strategies. For the queen charge, make sure you're setting up that funnel at either side so that she's coming into the base. For this one, you need that extra wide funnel for the Valkyries to come in and punch through the walls, as you can see doing now. Once they charge through, they will just rip through buildings. You just need to make sure you have the rages placed for them to bust through, and the heal spells as well, because they can go down relatively quickly. Make sure that you do not allow them to take too much in the way of splash. Once they get into the center of the base here, you can create the funnel as much as you want. Once you get them into the center, depending on the base layout, it's not always easy to see. Will they move left? Will they move right? You've got to have a bit of a plan for where they do not go. So as you can see, they move right on over to the west of the base, so we use a slammer on this area. Could have granted just swapped and used that on the other area if the Valks had moved across to the right, but the slammer and the balloons are able to take out that area. Balloons, Hog Riders, slammer, anything like that are perfect for doing that job in taking out the section of the base that the Valkyries will have missed. We've obviously got the cleanup troops now across this other area of the base, and we've got troops everywhere. I mean, look at this. It is nuts. Minions everywhere, Valkyries, Queen over there, Valks on the left, balloons coming through. Just insane, but getting the job done using that haste to try and help the loons through. Didn't quite get onto them final few defenses, but with so many troops left on the map, it's really not going to matter. We also have the Queen's ability. Again, save onto that if you can. You never know when you might need it in terms of these final few defenses. Once we know it's in the bag, you can pop that ability, take the victory, 3 stars, boom, job done. Beautiful job there by Azuka of Crunch Time, but let's move on to that bonus attack. Okay, so for the bonus attack, Keramingo getting it done here with the P.E.K.K.A. Bobat. Now, the reason I had this as a bonus attack, if you will, is that it's very similar to the Witches. It's just that you're using the P.E.K.K.As and the Bowlers. You're doing a similar job and then using the bats to swoop that thin area of the base. So let's dive straight into it. Again, all of these attacks by Crunch Time, they're absolute beasts. What a matchup it was against Kerala Royals for the CWL invite. We have been super close the couple of matches previous to this, but unfortunately missing out at the final hurdle on this one, despite some epic 12v12 3 stars, which I will try and show you. Maybe we will see about that. But onto the bonus attack. Again, funnel set up at the top. Such an amazing funnel there for the Queen to come down here. King doing the same at the other side so that we can power in from this area. Just as I point that out, the War Wrecker comes in to push us forward towards, what do you know, the Eagle Artillery. Notice how we've got the Queen and the CC there in the middle as well. Very nice value. Going to be able to get that multi rather quickly as well. And then you will see the thin area of defenses around the outside, which we can then use the bats. Whether we come from this side or this side, it really wouldn't matter. It would just be a case of distracting the splash on the outside. So as we come through, the P.E.K.K.As, their job is to basically tank for the bowlers, get through into them defenses, and they can crush. So in we come with the bats. Works out quite nice actually, because the Ice Golem is easily able to tank this Wizard Tower. Although the Tesla farm pops, we are able to indeed get through that relatively easily. Once we get round to this area, look, all of the beams of the multi are attracted, and if the troops they are attracted to are not going to go down anytime soon, then you can just leave it. You don't have to freeze that area for the bats, but obviously it's better to be safe than sorry. You never want to miss a freeze, because you will be surprised at how quickly the bats can go down. Freezing that Wizard Tower at that other side, if you can keep the bats alive, they will be brilliant for cleanup, especially with this one with the P.E.K.K.As. It can be a little bit more troublesome, although you should be okay. A lot of the time it's a very quick attack in terms of getting into the base, wiping the center out, so you've got that time to then walk around the edge with the P.E.K.K.As, but it's not as quick as with the Witches. You'd have to look at the base design in terms of which is better than which, but like what I did there, guys. But and that is going to wrap it up for this one, guys. Again, they're both very similar strategies, so that's how I didn't feature this one in the 5 itself. If you do want to see that video with the top Town Hall 11 attacks, it's on your screen there now. Be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. But until next time, peace out.